Grasshoppers, let me see everybody sitting theater style. On their bottoms, eyes on me, using their listening ears. Come on, Jacob, let's sit theater style.
Oh, that's all.
Mia, legs are off of the blue and the purple. I know, but we're going to read it again, okay?
But
Can you scoot back a little bit, legs off the blue and the purple? I see Zanaya sitting on her bottom. I see Zayana's eyes on me. I see Jamia using her listening ears and her quiet mouth. Dakota's using her listening ears and her quiet mouth. Mia scoot back and she's sitting theater style. Jamari sitting on his bottom. Yeah, we're reading another book about our friend Peter, but this time we're reading a book about our friend Peter using teamwork. Remember today Miss Abby talked about teamwork.
Yeah,
okay?
And we didn't remember.
So now, as I'm reading, Grasshoppers, as I'm reading the story, we are using our listening ears. And if we're using our, listen Dakota. Yes, he is a big boy, Dakota. But if we're using our listening ears, we're not talking. We're not talking, okay? Mia, using our listening ears and our quiet mouths. No. So Grasshoppers, this book is called Goggles. Can anybody tell me what this part of the book is called? But what is this called? Grasshoppers, we're gonna when I ask you a question, you're gonna give me an answer. We're not just gonna yell out answers. So this is the and this is the what does the spine do? We are not yelling answers to me. We are saying them. And this is the okay, Grasshoppers. We are using our quiet voices and our listening ears. Jamia is using her quiet voice and her listening ears. Mia, you need to use your quiet voice and your listening ears. Okay, Grasshoppers. Goggles by Ezra Jack Heath. And Ezra Jack Heath
Look at
is
Peter.
the
Look what he
author.
found, Jacob. I see that.
Yes, exactly. Just like
Go
the
sit
letter
so you
to
can
me.
see it.
My name is
Oh.
Archie, look what I found. Peter shouted through the pipe. Motorcycle goggles. So goggles are big glasses that we use to protect our eyes. Can I see everybody use their goggles? Let me see everybody's goggles.
I can't. Your eyes look like.
Let's catch a bubble and let's use our listening ears. Archie watched Peter through the hole. He listened and smiled. So it looks like Archie is talking through this end of the hole and Peter is listening through this end so they can hear each other through this pipe. Peter ran to the hideout. So a hideout is a secret place that only Peter and Archie know. Peter ran to the hideout and put on the goggles. Aren't they great, he asked. Archie smiled and nodded. Let me see everybody nod their head. Everybody nod their head.
Did he talk?
We're going to see. Let's use our listening ears, okay?
So if I want feathers, they want these stuff?
We're going to see. Let's use our listening ears. Listening ears. Peter said, let's go over to your house and sit on the steps. Archie nodded. They started off. Suddenly, some big boys appeared. Give us those goggles, kid. No, they're mine, Peter cried. His dog Willie growled. So when he growls, like, he's angry. Archie, hold Willie, said Peter. So these big boys, it look like they're looking for trouble. They're not looking to make friends, right? And Archie and Peter look a little bit afraid. Yeah, they're bullies. That's a good word, Dakota. Jamia, can you put your carpet square on the bottom? On your bottom?
I will put them in there.
So let's see.
Put them into the.
Let's see what Peter tries to do. Peter stuffed the goggles into his pocket and put up his fist. Let me see everybody put up your fist. Archie gasped. Peter turned to see if something was wrong. When someone gasps, that's a sound that you make when you're excited or when you're scared or you're nervous. So you see, Peter has his fist up. It looks like he's about to fight. Jacob, let me see you sit on your bottom, okay, so everyone can see, so all our friends can see. Yes, good job, Jacob. So he has his fist up, and the big boys have their fist up. It looks like they're about to get in a fight. Let's see what's going to happen next.
Fighting contest.
Yeah, and we know that compassionate friends do not fight, right? So we're going to see what's going to happen next. Compassionate friends don't fight because we want to be kind. It's not kind to hit our friends. The next thing he knew, he was knocked to the ground. Everyone stared at the goggles. So when you stare, everyone's just looking for a really long time.
And Willie got it.
Let's see next. So we see that Peter's on the ground. He looks a bit upset because he just got hurt. The big boys hurt Peter, and now everybody's looking at the goggles. Yeah, it is a dog, Jacob. Let's see what happens next. Let's see what the dog does next. Jacob, can you sit on your bottom so Mia can see? Before anyone could move, Willie snatched the goggles and ran through a hole in the fence. You were right, Jamari. The big boys chased after him. Meet you at the hideout, whispered Peter. It is a dog. Let's find out what the dog does. Let's see who this is. You go this way, I'll go that way. They won't know where we're going. Willie will find us. So now the big boys are running after Willie because Willie has the goggles. And Peter and Archie, they're whispering to each other because they're coming up with a plan to escape, to get away from the big boys. Let's see what happens next. Peter raced to the hideout. He sank down as low as he could. So when you sank, you go really, really low so no one can see you.
After the story, okay?
We're going to find out what happened with Willie.
I can see him.
Footsteps. The big boys, they followed me. Peter held his breath. So Peter hears some footsteps and he thinks that the big boys caught him. Jacob, let's sit on our bottom so everyone can see. He hears footsteps and he thinks that the big boys are coming. Let's see who it is. Archie! It's his friend Archie. He followed him to the hideout.
Yes, I can see that.
Jacob, let's sit on your bottom so Mia can see. What was that? Archie looked through the hole. So you remember they had this secret hideout and now Archie is looking through the hole. Let's see what Archie sees when he looks through the hole.
It was the big boy.
Let's see. There were the big boys. You were right, Dakota. And there was Willie. They would see him. So like the big boys, they're looking for Archie and Willie and Peter. And here's Willie. And so they think that the big boys are going to see Willie and take the goggles from him. Yeah, let's see. Archie stared at the pipe. Suddenly he spoke. Here, Willie, through the pipe, fast. So let's go back. So remember, when they look through the pipe, they can see each other on the other end, right? Let's go back. Let's go all the way back to the very first page. Remember, when Archie looks through this side of the pipe, he can see Peter at the other end, right? So he's looking and he's telling Willie, Willie, come through so we can see you at this end. So the big boys won't get you. Let's see what happens next. Willie! So Willie comes through with the goggles. Everyone's happy because he still has the goggles. And they did a lot of good teamwork and they worked together so they could save the goggles. The goggles.
Why do I even want the goggles?
Because they're pretty cool and all the kids want to play with them.
Then they just went down and come back up.
Yep. Let's catch a bubble, everybody. Let's see what happens next.
Okay.
Peter peeked through the hole. So there's a hole, and Peter's peeking through the hole. So he's looking, but he doesn't want anyone to see him. Peter peeked through the hole. The big boys were coming closer and closer. So here the big boys are coming. They're going to find Peter. Closer and closer. Peter took a deep breath. Then he yelled through the pipe, Willie, meet us at the parking lot. Head for the parking lot, one of the big boys yelled. Let's go. But Peter and Archie weren't really going to the parking lot. They wanted to trick the boys. They wanted to be a rascal and trick the big boys and tell them that they were going to the parking lot. But they weren't going to the parking lot. So now the big boys are running to the parking lot. Let's see what happens. Peter, Archie, and Willie crept out of the hideout. So when you creep, you go really slowly and you use a quiet voice. Yes, Jacob? Yeah, it looks pretty dark. This is the smoke coming. Let's see what happens next. Let's sit on your bottom so Mia can see. Peter, Archie, and Willie crept out of the hideout. When they reached the fence, they got up and ran. So they're no longer hiding from the big boys, so now they can run where they're going. Let's see where they're going. Let's see where they're headed to.
They're going to here where they get the goggles.
Let's see. That's a good prediction. They got to Archie's house. Archie laughed and said, we sure fooled them, didn't we? We sure did, said Peter, handing him the goggles. Things look real fine now, Archie said. They sure do, said Peter. So now they're sitting on Archie's porch because they tricked the big boys, and the big boys are at the parking lot where they're at Archie's house having fun with the goggles. These are just kids that are playing outside having fun. So, if we go...
Why are you not touching the tree?
I don't know why, because they have the goggles and they want to have fun with the goggles. So, grasshoppers, I have a question for you all. So remember right here when Peter and Archie, they weren't hiding anymore, and they left the big boys? I have a question. For a grasshopper that's raising a quiet hand, can someone tell me why the big boys went to the parking lot? Does anybody know why the big boys went to the parking lot? Zayan. Let's use a quiet voice and raise a waiting hand. Do you know why the big boys ran to the parking lot? Why? Raise your hand. Let me see you raising a waiting hand. Okay. Jamari, why do you think the big boys were waiting at the parking lot? Dakota, on your bottom.
They were trying to trick them. They were going to the parking lot.
That's a good answer. Dakota, why were the big boys at the parking lot?
Because when the big boys came and Peter and Archie said, go to the parking lot. So and then they were lonely. And then the big boys were lonely.
That's a really good answer, Dakota. That's exactly why the big boys were at the parking lot. Good job. Grasshoppers, we're sitting on our bottoms. Jacob, let me see you sit on your bottom, okay? Okay. So tomorrow, grasshoppers, we're going to read this book again, and we're going to see how Peter and Archie were feeling when they were using all that good teamwork to get away from the big boys, okay? Okay, grasshoppers, let me see everybody sitting on their bottoms with their eyes on me, using their listening ears and their quiet voices. Jayana's sitting on her bottom. Douglas' eyes are on me. Jamia's using a quiet voice. Jacob's using a quiet voice. Let's say your bottom. So grasshoppers. Closing circle. Okay. So grasshoppers. Miss Marissa. Yes, Sam?